Hello, how are you doing today, sir?
Hello, Jeff. Yeah, very well. You?
Good, thank you. I heard this is your first virtual junket. How's it working out for you so far?
Very strange. But it's kind of, but seriously, it's kind of better, isn't it, than what we used to do, which is that you'd be outside in the corridor, you'd come in, and then you'd be shuttled out again. And I mean, I mean, it's nice meeting people in the flesh, but this is
Right.
obviously more efficient, you
And it's
know.
I mean
And
it's easier for everyone around, really, all around.
it
So
surely is, isn't it? Yeah. Good.
first,
Good.
congratulations on the series. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, good. Thank
Really
you.
good. I'd like to talk to you about the casting process because I mean the casting process in a project like this is obviously much different because you've got to do you're casting real life people. What was the process like? Because I think you did a fantastic job. What
Yeah.
was the casting process like for you and your casting director?
It's so crucial. You can't say to your financial backers, if we can't cast someone to play Rotten, we're not going to make it because obviously they're spending money. So they've
Right,
got to.
right,
Everybody has to have this leap of faith that you are going to find somebody who can play Rotten, or Steve Jones,
right.
But somebody, especially someone like Rotten, who is highly visible, and highly contrary and provocative, and he's obviously going to be anti the program. So it's a huge issue. So I'm mentioning him because he was the most acute piece of casting in a way, and the way you know is they walk in the room, and it was like a COVID room. He was like right at the end of the room, and I was right at this other end with the casting directors, and you just knew straight away. That's all I can tell you. You know it's him, and you say to the casting directors, make sure you don't lose him, and it's. And I mention him, and it applied to all of them actually, but it's most acute with Anson, is that there's an essence you get that you think that is the quality. He's a bit taller than John probably, or he doesn't quite look like John, but you're not looking for an anatomical photocopy.
Right.
What you're looking for is something that allows you to have two of them in the room at the same time. The real John on all your research, your footage, etc., and Anson. And they have slightly different qualities, but they're both feeding each other in a weird way. So that's what you're after because you're in a gallery of shifting images. It's not like a photography book where you're trying to match a moment. You're trying to actually create a spiritual living thing that bewitches people and for a moment convinces you that this is true and that this is 1975. And you're happy to be there because it's interesting. That's all you're trying to do if you think about it. That's really what you're trying to do, So you're trying to just get that moment, that alchemy moment, where those two versions of him come together and you believe it. And he says at one point, he says, "Shut the fuck up, you!" And you think, yes, I believe that moment, And that's what we're all looking for, those moments of belief where you go, oh yeah. Yeah, I believe that. Thank you for taking me there. Yeah. Anyway, that's the idea.
I feel like you got a lot of. It seems like you got a lot of support from the actual people involved. Some of the band members, which actually surprised me a little bit. I feel as if they may have been a little more standoffish about this. What was that? What kind of support did you get from?
Well, Steve, whose book it's based on originally, was obviously very supportive and very helpful. Paul Cook, his best mate, the drummer, he lives in London. He was very practically helpful because we were making it in London. So he came in to see us, and Chrissy Hine came in, and people like that because she lives in London. Steve, we only met on Zoom, and John has been opposed to the project right from the get-go. So we did try to reach out to him, but he wasn't having any of it really. So
That doesn't surprise me.
it's not a surprise at all. And other people are kind of like more ambiguous about it. Glenn's more ambiguous because it's not his story. He has a different version. They all have different versions.
Right.
You're never gonna get them all to line up. I'm afraid it just doesn't work like that. But you have to accept that and the discord between them, which is well documented, is part of their genius. That's clearly where the energy came from. Malcolm encouraged it. They were like that anyway. They were falling out and fighting, and you go that's not something to be frightened of. We've got to embrace that. We've got to recreate that and believe it because it's truth. That's the truth of it as far as we could tell. The one version of the story that is absolutely true, I'm afraid isn't really available, sadly, that everybody agrees with. It ain't going to happen, You just have to you just have to embrace that,
One thing you're definitely known for is the grittiness that you bring to the screen. You've recreated 70s London the punk scene pretty accurately. Can you really quickly before you wrap up? Can you just talk about the production aspect of bringing that to life?
Yeah, the 70s. Having lived through it, it was painful to go back to it, I'm telling you. And the only joy in it for me was music, really. You know, I mean, football a bit, but compared to now, you know, soccer, you know, it's not, the quality of it was pretty poor, actually, when you look back at it. But music was high quality. And there was lots of, one of the myths is there wasn't much good music around at the time, and the Sex Pistols exploded that. In fact, there was lots of good music around at the time. What was different about the Pistols, and what helped us create the grittiness you're referring to, is that they were touchable. They never withdrew from the audience, even when all the spitting and the violence, and they never backed off from the front of the stage. Bowie's there, but he's out of reach. You know, he reaches out to you, but actually, he's safe. They never bothered about that. They never backed off, even at the height. And that allowed you to believe that they were of the people, that they really genuinely were of the people. And your job in recreating it was to be honest and faithful to those people who lived through that. One of whom was me, actually, so I have personal recollections of it. So that's what you're trying to serve, and they are the perfect way, they're the perfect weapon to do that with. They really are.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to meet you. Congratulations again, and good luck.
All right, lovely. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks,
Cheers,
bye-bye.
man. Bye now.